Okay, great. Okay, welcome to Stones. This is our first Streamyard production. I'm here with Ercell, Ivanhoe Watson. Pleasure to have you, my brother.
Hey, thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
having me.
yeah. So for those who don't know, every Tuesday night we have our group called Stones, and on we talk about weight loss. We talk about all kinds of stuff, and decent we had a decent conversation today. But today I was very glad to get what I call a friend. He knows my brothers. Didn't know him. I've been following him on Facebook, and just want to thank my brother Paul for producing behind there. Really, it's a pleasure to have Ivan here. We have some questions, but then we just started talking. And what we want to do is talk. We want to talk about his weight loss. There's a lot of people that go on there. And while we were in the group, some stuff came out, and we wanted to talk about that. So, Ivan, I just wanted you to tell me about a little bit of ourselves. We're both Seventh-day Adventists. We both grew up in the same era. You are in California now. I'm over here on the East Coast. So we got a LA Dodger, New York Yankee thing going on here. And
I mean,
yeah, so we just,
based on how the Yankees have been showing up, is I don't know if it's been a. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
yeah. So just tell me, you one of three.
Yeah,
You're the last of three.
yeah.
And just lately, I'll start off where the other side, what people don't know, is kind of like, the post thing is that we talked about the light just didn't switch out. You just don't lose 175 pounds out of nowhere. You said, you talked about something that you and I agreed on, that our big friends were dying during COVID, and that
Yeah,
scared
yeah,
us. So let's
yeah,
start with that. Let's start with
yeah.
that.
Yeah. COVID hit the great reset, the great stay home. They sent us home, and I'm at the house all day eating, not moving around, and so dealing with an uncertainty of what's happening in COVID, what's going on, dealing with the anxiety of now being stuck by myself. I was chowing down hardcore, and from March to June, I lost a bunch of friends. COVID took
Mhm.
out in total 7 of my fat friends.
Mhm.
Um,
So
and
COVID started in March, let's say March 15th, March 17th,
yeah,
I remember 2020 to June. That was very dark. Were you living in California at that
yeah,
time,
yeah.
or
I was here in Riverside, and let me just be clear: I didn't lose all 7 in that short window of time.
right? Hmm.
But over the course of the whole lockdown experience, 7 of my well, pretty much all of my fat friends that got it, donezo.
Hmm.
And one of my buddies passed, and it was a shock of, okay, because here's the shocking part: like him and his mother had it, right? His mother passes on a Tuesday. He passed on Wednesday. He passed on Wednesday while he was thanking people on Facebook for the condolences for his mother. He literally
Wow,
died while responding to comments. And it's like
wow,
it was one of these scenes where, oh my goodness, Carlos has passed. And it's like, what? And so when that happened, there was this shock of, yo, this is real. And the dude he was like 32. So it wasn't like
right,
he was a kid, you know.
right.
And so it was the shock of, man, dude, do I really want to put myself at risk unnecessarily anymore? Like I can't do this anymore. Like I
Hmm.
know I've been living at risk. You know, I'm on blood pressure medication. I've been obese for many, many years. So it's one of those things where it's like, I already know I'm living at risk to begin with. And now there's this virus that if you're that attacks your breathing. So that was the real shift from it went from almost like the goal no longer was to lose weight. The goal was I want to live.
Wow.
And this is one of the barriers on the path to getting to life. I've got to tackle this healthy because it's preventing me from living. You know, my thing is I don't want to be.
What you mean by
living?
When
you just
living age or just living healthy, able to walk, no pain, just mind free.
All of it. And I think I discovered all of it as time passed, like what all of it entailed and what it really means. But it was one of these things where it's like, I know I'm not living a life that's healthy. So I'm not honoring my temple. I know that due to the way I'm living, it prevents me from experiencing certain things. Like all my pictures of the mountain are at the bottom of the mountain looking at it. Like I want a picture from the top of the mountain. Like I'm a photographer and all my pictures are literally, I'm standing in front of the thing, but I'm not on it. I'm not enjoying it, you know? And so it's like the limitations that come with being that size, the experience of self that comes with that size, and then just the opportunity of experiencing something different. You know, I've been fat my whole life, so this has always been my experience. And so it's like, now it's a case of, I don't know what this different thing is, but now I'm finally willing to go on the journey of discovery, you know, the unknown. So that's what really kicked it off.
So let's talk about living as a big person or a fat person. Like one of the things I struggle with is getting on the plane, and I've met so much wonderful stewardesses. I've come on and the first thing I'll say, do you have an extender?
Yep.
And they will hand it to you like it's like it's drugs, right? Like they're not there to embarrass you or what have you. But the opposite side of that is if there's an extra drink or if there's extra snacks, they'll slide you some too. No, you know, that's one of the things that or going up the stairs, even though everybody's huffing and puffing, you know, you look for somebody else who's huffing and puffing, and then that clothes is not that bad because now you have places that cater to clothes. You can find nice clothes with that. And so tell me about some of the lifestyles that our thinner brothers and sisters would not think that we would have to kind of like go through.
Well, here's a funny story. You talk about like clothes fitting. I remember my sophomore year of high school, we're going to Casual Male, and my mother is like, Ivan, you like every year my size would increase. And when high school hit, I did a quick ramp up. I went from, you know, XXX to 4X in like 2 years. Like, so we're driving to Casual Male, and she's like, Ivan, you gotta get your stuff together because eventually, son, they're not gonna have clothes that are gonna fit you. And what are we gonna do then? What's gonna be the thing we do when you can't find anything that fits? And she was, bro, she's making a flawless point. She had my attention. I'm just like, oh, you know what, you're making a great point. And we pull into Casual Male, and there's a big sign that says now up to 7X. And I was like, because at that time, I was just a 2. So I'm like, girl, I've got 5 more X's before we need to really make some adjustments.
And they got it.
And now they've got like 33X, you know.
Wow.
But it's like, to me, it's the things I'm discovering now. So like my favorite thing right now is the booth. My favorite thing is when I go to when we go out to eat, we're only getting the booth. and we're only going to restaurants that have booths. And I want the booth with the table that you can't move. I want the one that's locked in place, because that used to be my nemesis whenever we'd go out to eat.
Wow, speak on it. Yep, right.
It's the stress of no longer needing to Google the restaurant to see what kind of chairs they have in advance, because you don't want to get there and the chairs have arms. And don't get me wrong, I made a great routine out of asking, because every restaurant has that one chair that doesn't have arms. And so I was able to make the routine to make it funny, but it was just like, now I can just walk into a restaurant and sit myself down, and it's just normal. There's no accommodation needed. So I recently flew.
Go ahead.
No, I just recently flew, and this was the first trip since the 90s that I got on a plane. I went in, I sat down, I buckled my seatbelt. My stomach wasn't sitting on the armrest. And it's one of those things where when I would fly, I was always moving slow. So either way, I always ended up being one of the last people to board. And the looks, you're there. And I one of my gifts is I lead people to Jesus when we're on an airplane, because every time I walk in, they're finding the Lord, like, Lord, help them not to sit in. Like, they're always, you get the look of, I hope he's not sitting next to me.
Wow.
And now it's like to walk on a plane and just to not even be noticed is such a great experience, So
wow. Are those motivated? Were those some of your motivating factors? Like after you turn the corner, like after 5 or 10 pounds, like I could see this happening, but how does that go?
That's a great question. I think there was a time where I just decided I'm not going to fly unless I absolutely have to. So like I'd flown. I used to do stand up, and I'd flown out to California to do some shows, and I'm on my return trip, and I get to the gate, and the main guy was like, "You're not getting on this plane." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Nah, you're too fat. I'm not letting you on this plane. You're gonna have to get an extra seat. Sorry, and we're booked, so you're not getting on." And it was so humiliating, and you'd think that would have been the nail in the coffin. That would have been the moment that I made the life change. But nope, that's when I was like, yep, once I get home, I'm only gonna fly if I absolutely have to. And so I think what I've been discovering in this season of my life has been the cage that I built for myself to hide in is no longer there. And it's like, it makes sense to build a cage for yourself. That way you can justify not being able to soar. But it's like, yo, this life I'm creating doesn't have those limits anymore. So now it's almost like we were saying earlier, it's the anticipation, bro. I don't want to fast forward this season at all, but I can't wait for next year. I can't wait to see what my body's going to be able to do, to see what it's going to look like. So there's this anticipation that's just like,
I'm glad you said that, because the humiliation, for some reason, as humiliating as it is, it's like these enzymes that make you stronger in your path, right? It's just like, why is Ivan like that? It's like everybody has their own path to get where they are, but you are, and that's why that's why I talk in stones. It's more than water, and it's more than, like, when you talked about in the conversation that last barbecue, and you talked about what you really like, and then you took that pebble and you put it in, and then the water started to rise. I'm using that analogy. But something that we didn't talk about that I want to bring up, why don't you talk about the energy that you got? You talked about the cage, right? but now you're flying out of the cage. You could literally pick up that cage with your talons and fly on that. And I'm using that analogy also. Talk about that because I see it and I understand it. And early when we talked this week, we talked about the followers and whatever. That's one thing, but then your story is authentic. But talk about your energy.
Man, I so I'm experiencing two different energies. Physically, I'm discovering that, like today, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna run on level 5 on this treadmill today, whether I fall or not. Right. And I got on level 5 and I was like, oh, so I'm learning what I can do physically, and I'm learning that my body can handle it. There's the energized feeling I have that doesn't seem to back down when I press its limits.
Wow. Say
So
that again.
There's the physical. Here's the thing about it. Like,
say that again.
It doesn't. The energy doesn't back down when I press the gas. It's one of those things where, like, I'm really just like God is interesting, yo. Like, the way He made our bodies is fascinating.
My mother says that.
It's like I'm realizing that our bodies can handle, as long as we treat them with care, they can handle whatever we put them through. And it's like I'm discovering that, and I think that's the key thing. Let me treat this thing like the sacred temple it is. So let me not mishandle my body, but I can go hard with this thing. It's built for that. It's supposed to do it. And so, like, that's probably why I spend so much time at the gym, because I'm just like, holy cow, I can't believe it can do all of these things. But I'll be honest, like, Gary, the energy that's dope. And I'm not downplaying the physical side of it, but I'll be real, bro. Like, the energy that really has me on fire is that. So today at the gym, Rosa, this 70-plus-year-old lady, comes up to me, my little homie. We talk every day. She's dropped a ton of weight. I think she's dropped like 80 pounds. Like wow. She's half the size. Like, she's just, so every day we see each other, like, yo, hey, Rosa, hey, she comes up to me and she has her medal from her half marathon. And she was like, look what I did. And it's this thing where, wow, like, I'm getting to experience other people also discovering the unbelievable in their life. Like, it blew my mind. Like, this is incredible that you are a true, legitimate senior citizen, and you just ran 13.1 miles last weekend.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm like, what? Yep. So to me, it's like not only am I getting to experience a newness in my life, but the connection of becoming great is magnetic. And I think whenever we push ourselves to do something big, we get connected with other people who are doing the same thing. And that energy, honestly, is what has me, like, feeling so grateful, because it's like, wow, who would have thought I'd be the guy that's excited about your health? Like, let alone mine. I geek out that I'm really, like, I'm truly excited when other people are doing their thing. It's like, wow. So that's kind of what has me a little blown away right now.
How about, and you'll understand this, hope you understand this, people who used to look through you and now they're looking at you. Now, how do you handle that?
That's a good
Because when they see you as a big person, they just see big. And then it's more than, it almost sounds rude, but it's almost like when somebody passes in your family, they said, my condolences. It's like, wow, you dropped 175 pounds. So it's physically seen where that is. It's like, no, but they don't know the whole transformation that it takes to do that. So and I think you know what I'm talking about. How you deal with people who used to see through you and now they're looking at you?
Funny story. I'm at the gym the other day and I look over and out the corner of my eye, there's this gal there and she's checking me out. She's legit eyeing me up and down. We make eye contact and I'm like, oh. And she's like, oh. And I was like, okay. And she's like, yep. And for the first time in my life, I'm like, wait a second. Did she just treat me like a piece of meat? I'm like, holy cow, this is amazing.
Right.
You know, this is she didn't say good personality. She didn't say great jokes. She just saw me from a distance and was like, yep. And
yep.
That was kind of fly for me. I can't lie. I've told that story like 17 times, right? This is, but I think I'm still figuring out that answer, because here's what I'll say. I think when I was at my heaviest, I was also showing up to the world as Fat Ivan. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be noticed. And when I did, it had to be with a gimmick. I didn't have confidence. I didn't believe in myself. And I feel like that energy also is like, you can only act away from that energy for so long before people realize you're lying, you know? And so for me, I think I'm giving people grace to discover the new me that I'm also creating right now. Because I'll be real, like I've never been 264 pounds on a mission to get in shape.
Right.
On a mission of not just the gimmick of self-love, but just the idea of, I just want to be better for myself. This is all new for me too.
Right.
So it's like, I give people grace to like also discover with me. Because a lot of feedback I get from people that know me have been like, dude, we never saw the fat. You made us see the fat. You talked about your fat. You'd get on stage and the first joke you talk about was a fat joke. Like, you made fat your thing. Whereas we just saw the incredible person you are, you know? So I think it's almost like I'm finally seeing what the world has seen. And it's like, oh, you know, so it's like, it is this duality of.
You are so right about that. Because I'll just say this, right? I got no problem saying this, because this was like, my brothers don't see me as that. They just see me as this amazing guy. They really do. No, I would criticize them or whatever. And one day my brother says to me, he was like, you know, don't worry about, and this is us as adults. Patrick said this to me one day. He was like, you know, you are still handsome. I was like, and that just blew me away. And what I got out of that is, I understand, like, I didn't even give myself a chance. My own brother saw me as handsome, right? This is like, so I'm up here, like I work with other people, and I say, you know, as a bigger person, I try to get to places early because I didn't want to come across lazy, right? I try to be the first person there, try to be the most responsible person, try to be accountable, because I do not want my size to get in the way of my, I try to be the most hardest working. And I'll admit, and you probably could attest to this, that it worked out for me, right? I could beat everybody in the room. But when I get home, the physical tiredness and the mentality tiredness. That's why I understand with the birdcage, just to do that. It's amazing. So it's like, I have to go to sleep right now, because it took so much mental energy to beat the next cats next to me, because I had to be 3 times better. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I want people to know what really goes on in people's mind. And you talk about the freedom, the mentality freedom. You know, it's not really like, I still enjoy a steak, but like you said, we can't eat no steak 11:30 at night, right? So right. So go back to the freedom, and then we talked about something earlier, the timing. You could eat, you could have all kinds of diets. Everybody has diets that work for them, but the structure and the timing and the regimen and the discipline. And you made it sound so easy. So I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for sharing that. That was good. I really appreciate that.
What
I
part?
think it's when
Oh,
you said that, how your brother was like, "Yo, you're handsome," and it's like the idea that you're also getting to see how
right,
others see you. Like, I think
right.
like our mind is really
Effed up.
like, God,
Really?
God, why did you
Right,
make us so-" like,
right,
ah.
right.
um it's just so funny. Like, Ghetto Boys had that song, "My Mom's Playing Tricks on Me," and
Yes. Know
it's
the song.
like,
Right.
it's one of those things where, wow, I look back at the timeline of my life, and it's like, wow, my mind was telling me this lie that I wrote and
Oh,
believed about myself, and I just found ways to give it credibility, and then told myself, this is what all y'all think. Didn't ask
mhm,
anyone. Didn't do any research or data to see if what I was thinking was
mhm,
correct. Didn't defend
mhm,
my thesis. Just showed
mhm,
up the way I thought people saw me,
mhm,
and so that's
mhm,
what they saw.
mhm,
Um, I think it's a what has made it easy for me has been, first of all, I love it. I can't lie, and I allowed myself time to fall in love with it. You know.
mhm.
So it's like, when I started, and like I was saying earlier, like, if I was to start over right now, I'd do this thing completely differently.
Whole different way.
Like,
Yep.
oh my
Mhm,
gosh,
mhm,
completely differently.
mhm,
I wouldn't, like, anybody that's watching, stop stressing about food. That's not the issue.
mhm,
There's two major issues that you've got to look at. First of all, why are you running the food? Because if
mhm.
you cut food out and you don't cut the reason you need it, you're going to need something, and chances are
Right,
you're going to fall back to food. So,
right,
are you willing to address why you run to comfort yourself with food?
right.
That's the first thing.
Yep.
Second of all, do you love yourself enough, or let me ask, or do you even like yourself enough to
Mhm.
consider giving yourself some structure? And I'm the free spirit of my family, and what I've
Mhm,
said that means is I fly free.
mhm.
I don't need a plan. I just, wherever the wind goes. But respectfully, that doesn't get you anywhere. That you like if the wind blows you off course, you're not getting where you're supposed to go. So it's like, I
That's
think you
right.
can,
You're right.
like you can be free spirited in a space of structure, and that way you don't miss out on what you're
Mhm,
supposed to be doing. And so for me, it's like,
mhm,
I would like if I was to start today, I would say, dude, walk 20 minutes a day, stop eating 2.5 hours before bedtime, get half your weight in water, ounces, and then I'd say, get yourself a journal and give yourself permission to start going deep with your head. Because until you figure this stuff out and get a structure, you have no business worrying about your diet or the food.
uh, journaling
None.
is so underrated.
Oh,
So underrated. I
yep.
I'll share this with you today. Um, it's I think instead of reasons not to, I started having reasons to.
Mm.
So my brother Paul has this prayer line for Oakwood 30 days. And I just went on the prayer line and I said, I and Ivan, you know what you need, right? So it's just like I prayed for energy.
Yep.
I just give me a little energy.
Yep.
And so there's this place, and this is I don't want to say it's shameful that it's at the beach, and at the beach they have and I remember when I used to work out and I used to run, and my
Mm.
trainer, I'm gonna name her name, Alicia Hall. She's from Linden, and she says when you start to run, she says, Go just run to that pole and then you walk. And then run to that pole and you walk. And now I just like, look, I'm running, I'm gonna run or I'm gonna walk to that bench over there. And then I'm gonna go to that bench. I said, but my thing is that I need to get out here. I found myself out there every day at the same time. So I feel you. It's really a mindset because everything that the weight and everything comes off is really secondary. It's just like what you said, like before the weight is the sleep, right? Like you sleep like it's just like if you exercise and you eat right and drink a lot of water, you're gonna sleep like a baby.
You're
Not gonna need
going
any
to
help.
bed. You're going to
Right.
bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna crash.
You're gonna crash and you're gonna wake
Mhm.
up even better.
Yeah.
But then, when people do the before and after pictures, there's so much that goes into that,
Yeah.
or what it is. Your favorite food now?
Oh man.
I'm not gonna. You talked about cauliflower, but I
I
don't think the
mean,
cauliflower has got to you. But
now it's I cook a lot. So but I'm a steak and potatoes kind of guy. So you give me a good
bruh,
ribeye and I'm
you know
you
we
give me
go.
a
You
good
know what we're gonna do.
ribeye, get some
Either I come
ribeyes.
out to either I come out to California, or you come here, and we need to get some lights and video. And we need to just tape and talk over a
Over a
steak.
steak.
Steak, right?
Let's make that a weekly podcast.
We may have to do
Yo,
that.
yo,
Just this may turn into something positive because I always wanted. Well, you saw the group. I just always wanted to talk about the real stuff, the seat belts,
yeah,
the extra
yeah,
snacks. It's like
yeah.
somebody think they're funny, they're humiliating. So really, I'll bust your ass.
Hmm.
And then you end up going to the hospital because there's something special that, and another thing that really gets to me, and you probably like, I've had friends who are healthier than me, or supposedly
Yeah.
healthier than me, and they pass away, right?
Hmm.
Riding bikes, always in the gym. So it's like God has something special on you, and
Yep.
that your work is not done
Praise
here.
God. Yep.
So, yeah. And so
It's
I
yeah.
I tell a little story with my brother. He's like, man, I want to gain some weight. I want to get a little because my brothers are I I'll share this with you and you will understand this. Two of my brothers together times two makes me. All right.
Yep.
So Paul and Patrick's weight, Paul plus Patrick is that number, and you times it by two and you get me.
Yeah.
And then
I feel that.
one day Pat was gaining weight and he said, man, I'm feeling good. I said, you don't want this side. You don't
Yeah.
want, your knee's gonna start going.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be sweating out of places that you never thought that you were sweating from before.
Facts.
You
Yeah.
know, you know, and it's gonna take you a little longer to bathe or what have you. And I talk about to all of my bigger friends who's going through issues. That's like I talk about the ramp. And
Hmm.
just like I told you, I would get there early. It's like I know if I had to get there someplace by 9, I really have to get up extra early to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sure everything is right. And
Yeah.
Ivan and Gary gets there, and it's like, wow, how did they do that? Because
Yeah.
you may wake up at 8 to get over 9, but I have to wake up at 7 or
Yeah.
6:30 to get that all going. Catch a nap in between, all that kind of stuff like that. So these are the little secrets that we go through. And then I'm just happy to hear you say that you're free from that cage. And then
Yeah.
I'm sure you dreamed about it. And when you achieved it, like when you talked about going down the aisle
Yeah.
or walking by the candy or walking by beer, or you could still make the steak just as great and eat it and
Yeah.
maybe gain 1 pound and burn it back off because you in the gym because you have
Yeah.
that regimen. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
uh,
there's I think it's and anyone that's watching, like, I think the big thing is peace of mind is so underrated. but I think like it's a combination of peace of mind, but it's also this combination of anticipation. It's a combination of all the time, just the length of life that I wrote myself out of. There's this optimism of, and I don't know when my end date is. I don't know when I expire, but the optimism is saying, hey, you about to be here for a while longer. And so there's this new level of, yo, life is about to do the thing it's supposed to do. Because I'm finally in a space where I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but I'm also believing who I'm supposed to be. And I get to use this real life experience of a weight loss to remind me what happens when I show up, when I stay committed, when I have order and discipline. And I'd even say when I really allow my trust to be in God. Because this whole thing would have never, like this is how I know this is a God thing. I would have never scripted this as my, never. It would have never been this. And so it's like, all right, Lord, like I know that whatever the thing you have me to do, just like what you said, we get up every morning, there's a reason why we're still here.
Yep.
And so it's like, yo, let me no longer just, let me not let some nacho supremes get in the way of my divine call. Like if I get to heaven, he's like, really, over some pizza, dog, some wings? Are you serious? It's like, Lord, you're right, my fault. Let me just eat this, this cauliflower and cheese. Let me just.
It's so funny as being Adventist. So I'm going to tread softly on this. It's like you hear all these things and you learn all these things, but when your success coming, you don't even practice those things. It's like it's inundated with guilt and the wrong intention. And it just doesn't seem right. And then when you start getting your success, like I never learned that, right? I never did that. I never learned that through Pathfinders. I never learned that through eating Prosage Franks from the cafeteria at Oakwood, Loma, whatever. All right. It just didn't connect. But I get my best freedom when I'm outside, and doing those shows. I know it's beautiful where you are, right? So like here in New York, I got to make sure I get out on beautiful days.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing good, I don't take elevators. I take stairs.
Yeah.
I walk farthest from the block. I remember at one time when I was really doing well, I used to park on the 7th floor of the building, right? And even though I didn't like stairs or I didn't like elevators, it had ramps, and I would walk up all the ramp with my book bag, and I knew it kept my weight down, right? It just kept my weight down. Or when I was doing my public health, I remember playing basketball with my teachers, but the older I get, it's just, you just get older, right? You gotta find ways to make it work. And it's tough. And it's tough. And when I look on your page again, I see the authenticity of it.
Thank you.
We
so much.
Yeah, I think that's what that drew it. So tell me about the gym. It had to take. And this is the biggest myth about gyms, and maybe you could. You're afraid to go to the gym because you're a big guy, but then there's some way that people welcome you, and they're kind of glad that you're there because they see that you're trying. It's like there's this whole lie about you shouldn't go to the gym because you're embarrassed, but really it's like the vibe there. If you go there like a week, it's I see him every day at 6:30 at this time. Nobody F's with you because they know it's almost sacred. Like, talk to me about that. And I probably learned something from that.
Man, I
And you go every
I
day. You don't go like Monday. You go every day, right? Or
I
you
go
try to.
Monday through Saturday. I go 6 days a week. I take
Okay.
Sundays off.
Okay.
So like it's I geek out when I think about the gym. You have this narrative of they're against me. And so and I would
That's that
say
mindset
like
we were talking about again. That's that
100%.
right. Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
And anyone watching that is curious about the gym, don't tell yourself they're against you. Just tell yourself they're further along.
Mhm.
That's it. They're further along. And here's the truth. I'm a likable dude. I've like so I like people are my currency. So I know that. I love groups of strangers because I'm gonna walk in and meet everybody, learn everybody's. So it's like that's always been my thing. So my gym, like I can't front. I walk to the gym, and so part of the reason why I'm there for such a long time is I know everybody. And it's one of these things where I've discovered that the gym is it's such a dope experiment because it's the place where you get props not based on how you look, but based on the character you're displaying. Because people there pay attention, like it's like
It's
I
true.
get
It's true.
props now because I'm smaller, but I'm 2 years into this. No, I'm a year into going 6 days a week. Last October, I started going 6 days a week. But I've been going to the same gym for 2 years now, consistently. And so folks are like, dude, you're the guy that's always here. And most of the conversations have been, I was gonna sleep in, but then I thought about you, and I'm like, we know you're showing up, so we're gonna show
Stop.
up. And it's one
Stop.
of these things, bro. So it's like if you wanna feel great about yourself, take your fat butt to the gym because here's the truth. Like you're gonna physically feel better, but the real reality is who you're becoming. The people there are gonna get to affirm that with you because they understand it. Someone that's yoked understands commitment. Someone that's like you just don't get that overnight. So it's like the people who you're surrounded by are gonna do everything to make sure you don't fall off. So it's like low key. Like I used to say, like here's the truth. My two favorite places are my church and the gym. And it's like Jesus wins every single time. Respectfully, Jesus always wins. But I'm like, God, thank you so much that you gave me the gym community that I have. And I went in I went in with no gym partners. I went in there. My trainer was training out of there. I trained there with him for about a month and he stopped training me. And it's like, what's up, Rory? Um, it's like it became this solo adventure. And here's what I decided to do. I was like, I'm gonna show up to the gym every day, and here's my challenge. I'm gonna meet somebody new, I'm gonna learn their name, and I'm gonna ask what their goals are. So now it's like when I arrive, they're like, oh, there's the dude that's cheering me on. So everybody I know is happy to see me because they know I'm on their side. And then the other challenge, I was like, every fly girl, I'm gonna find out one fly woman's I'm gonna get one number every day. No, I didn't. But the space of like, there's something that happens when you go to a space and everybody's on the same direction. It's crazy. So I would highly recommend like don't bring a gym partner. Don't bring like make that your space. Make that your time because the community of people they're waiting for you. And I can't go on and on. Like I can't say enough about just the once again, I think it's a case of how we show up. You know, our minds trick us out of so many dope experiences,
It sure
so many
does.
dope
It does.
relationships, you know.
It does. It
And so my
does.
thing is like one of the things I decided when I was at my heaviest, starting this transition, I said, I'm gonna believe and decide that everybody's cheering me on. And I'm gonna give you permission to cheer me on how you see fit. Some may be obvious cheers, some may be side eyes, some may be like, nigga, you fat. Like however you decide, I'm just going to receive it as you're on my side. And that has relieved so much stress from having to try to navigate this crazy thing.
Man, you speak so much truth. I've had a successful month, and I talked to you at the beginning of the month, right? But I had a successful month, and I just took, like, my feet aren't swollen. When you put up those pictures of the feet, like, my feet used to hurt.
Bruh.
Right?
Yeah.
Jesus, man, just because, and I prayed, just like, please don't take away my legs. All right. All right. Well, there you go, right there. So that's the thick feet, but sometimes there'll be so much salt or acid in your feet, it just swells up. And I would have to sit down for like a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then I was telling in the prayer group, I was like, yo, I haven't had that problem because I've started like a big intake of water. And then another thing that I started, and you probably could relate to this, and I just like, you know what? I'm not going to wait to go down to a different size. I'm going to wear my clothes now. I'm going to wear confidence. I'm going to wear what I need to wear. And when I go out of it, I'll just burn it or throw it away. I just got to take every day as a better day. Yeah. So I'm glad that you have affirmed a lot of things. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. And then, we're going to put it out there. Ivan and I will put it out there. We'll probably have a podcast maybe once a month or twice a month. And what we'll do is we're going to throw out some reels and see how everybody because this is real talk, just real straight talk. 2 more things I'm going to ask you about. Talk to me about your clothes, right? Yeah, when I see your pictures, I see real Cali there, the long shirts. That you still got that 90s hip hop thing going on, which is working for you. Yeah, you're looking great, but talk to me about that first, and then I'll ask you the last question and we'll close
out. Right now, clothes that's a funny question. I was traveling recently, and one of my main pieces of luggages got lost. Had all my workout clothes in it actually the other day. So right now, here's the thing about clothes for me.
Hold on 1 second.
Sure. Yes, I agree. Yep, just get started. So true, Daphne. That is so true. That is so true.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Not at all.
Close.
So I've got this. When I started, so I've always been the guy that somehow would have these random pieces of clothes, and that was kind of like my consolation of one day I'll fit in this shirt. No plan. No action steps, but I've got this extra large shirt I got at this Wu-Tang concert in one day, and I've actually got like the first concert I went to was Wu-Tang Clan and Rage Against the Machine, and we got and I have two Wu-Tang shirts. One of them signed by Method Man, still to this day in a box because it's like I'm gonna fit this one day, and I used to tell myself, and I've had it since '99, and it's one of these things now where it's going to be a reality. So for me, it's like I tell people, whenever you start your journey, keep one pair of pants, keep one top at least, so that you can always remember where you were. Like why I'm so bummed out they lost my luggage is because I had this sweatshirt in there that I work out in. And now it's like 2-3 sizes too big. But it's one of these things where it's like it's a constant reminder when I see myself swimming in this shirt, like, bro, that shirt used to be tight,
Wow.
So it's one of these things where it's like, so clothing to me is like clothing is like that tangible reminder of where you
It's
started,
true.
and then
It's
it
true.
gives you a goal of where you can go.
It's true.
And that's so it's like, for me, it's like we were out of town. I got this shirt from H&M, which is crazy because I've only been able to shop at Casual Male Big and Tall, DXL.
Right.
That's the only store for me, or Burlington Co-Factory. But now it's like I can now legit walk into stores and leave with something. So it's almost like now I'm going to actually discover my love for clothing, because prior it's been just like, does it cover me? Does it fit? Does it match? I'm not too hung up on style. I just want to look as nice as I can. But now it's like, yo, I can really actually craft and curate a look for myself, because now I have access to everything. You know, so it's a thing where it's like I'm curious, you know, what it's gonna feel like being in an Ercell shirt. I'm curious what it's gonna feel like having a 36 inch waist again.
Bruh.
You know, it's like, yo, this is that anticipation, you know. And I tell folks, get yourself a dream shirt, like get you the outfit that you think you want to fit into, and hang it up in your closet. That way, every day you're reminded of what you're working towards. You know, if you can create so many reminders of why and what you can experience on the back end, I think that really helps. That's helped me stay committed. Tangible. Can I touch it? There's enough figurative things that are going to happen in your head, but like, what's the tangible world you can create that'll keep you motivated? To me, it's that smaller shirt that I know is going to look good when I rock it, you know?
So I'm going to add my thing that I want to get. And I'm playing like we want to do this in the future. I want to get a golf umbrella. And one of them super Tiger Woods golf umbrella. And I want to do my walk in the rain. I wanted to walk in the rain uninterrupted. There was this guy that when I went to the track, he walked every day, over and over. I see him all day. He's not there anymore. And I literally seen the pounds melt off of him. I knew he was every day, because if I went Monday and then I went Thursday, he was there the same time every day. I was like, wow. And, you know, the blessing is, this is not a brag. I mean, I started my own business and I've become to see the results of it because I worked at it every day from the scratch. So seeing what you do, and if you tell me 6 days a week, every day for 2 hours or 3 hours, and you're eating right, the body and the mind have no choice but to surrender to the will that's unlocked. Okay, I got 8 minutes. Tell me about your family now. Girlfriend, boyfriend, kids. It seems that weight loss, and then they get to understand. You know, I bring up my brothers. I bring up my wife, who's very supportive, just very supportive. Like I'll be very transparent. Like, now that we got some insurance, now I could go to the doctor on a regular basis and be like, yo, what's up? Let me draw this blood. Let me get some incentives. I used to be afraid to go, but now I'm taking that
so the
on.
answers are, yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that.
So here's the truth. I'll be real. I'm so grateful for many years. My heartbreak was, God, when are you gonna send me a wife? When am I gonna get to have this family? And he's almost like, you're gonna orphan them one way or another, whether you die early or you're just dead in certain parts of their lives. They're not going to have full access to you based on how you live. And part of that new optimism has been, do I want kids? That'd be cool. I'm cool being an uncle. I have hella nephews and nieces. you know, but the idea of like, if I were married, I'd be in a space where either A, my wife and I are now not on good terms because she would have been the queen of that Death Star of a world I was building for myself. And so it's like, I'd be in conflict if she wasn't sold, you know? So it's
Preach,
almost like,
preach.
I feel like God's like, bruh, I saved you from a disappointing marriage. Let's get you together first. And let's get you believing you're deserving of it. Let's get you believing that you're worthy of it. Let's get you believing that you're worth it. What if you're not a husband that believes he's valuable to his wife? What is that? How can you lead the family? So it's like, I feel like there's so many things I've learned that I need to become through this journey that low key I've kind of been saved from. So like the future, like I said, you know, I'm starting to take notice of the ladies checking, like it's now happening because yes, like bro, you look completely different. And I think the cool thing about who I've met at the gym has, once again, it's like your character speaks way before your looks. And so I feel like when you have your character together, everything else falls in line as well. So that's really been the win that I've gotten to experience. Like, yo, like this discipline, commitment, all of these pillars of life, look at the results they're creating. Who would have known being so boring could be so amazing? You know, the most exciting thing I do is stay boring because now I can run up the mountain by my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Speak on it. Speak on it.
You know, it's the excitement of life that comes with just being normal is enough. And for me, learning that the structure that I've ran from so many years has been the foundation that has allowed this world to be created. And so now it's like, you know, people talk about living your life in an 80-20, you know, 80% of the time, stay strict. 80% do it. And then give yourself 20% to go have some fun. Eat that piece of cheesecake. Have that loaded baked potato. Hey, if you know, do the thing, have the cookie, whatever, because it's like that approach allows you to have some adventure, but it keeps you so consistent where it won't throw you off. Where if you're living 50-50, no success. 60-40, but that 80-20 approach, for my experience, works, you know.
Well, I'll end with this story, and it happened today. You know, I talked about Pat and Paul. One of the most valuable people in my life is my wife and my son too. And I've learned to listen.
Yeah.
And I've learned to listen to my body. And I've learned to listen to the voice of God.
Yeah.
And there's people in your life that you need to listen to. And I guess hopefully next time we can talk about that. But I drop my wife at work every day. I insist on it. I don't want her to take the train or the bus to work. And it's about 5 miles from here. And the block she works on is a two-way street. Okay. Follow me very carefully. And every time for the last month, I either go down the street 2 blocks and go around the hospital and come around to what is called Kasuth Place. And I said, there's a lot of cars there, whatever. And then I said, then I decided to go down. I used the street name so anybody could understand. Then the other way, we go under the train, down Jerome, make a left, and come all the way around.
Yeah.
We're doing it for a month. And today she said to me, why don't you just turn down Gun Hill and then make a right on Kasuth? And I said, oh my God, all this time, I thought it was a one-way street going out to Gun Hill. And I've parked on that street and I've left that street, but it never registered in my mind that it was a two-way street until today. She told me, go down that street. And I said to myself, you mean to tell me I've been going the long way unnecessarily for all that time?
Yeah. Wow, that's
And now
good.
this, so from now on, I will go down Kasuth because I know it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And so remember we were talking about we are prisoners of our own mind.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm handsome, and you talk about your issues, and we're able to put it together. And so I think what I leave today is let people know that listen to your heart, listen to your family, but most of all, be open to execute it, because there are different ways to reach it. You don't have to go the long way all the time. The answer is right there in front of your face. All right. Man, it was a pleasure. Paul, are you there? Paul probably have some prophetic thing or something to say if he's around. Hopefully
What's
he's
up,
around.
Woo? You know what I'm saying?
Woo's a good guy, man.
Yeah.
Woo's a good
I
guy.
know that guy. We went to college together.
Yeah, that's my dude right
We
there.
went to Andrews together.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
Daphne, I'd love to chat if you want to send me a DM. I'd love to chat and see. Yeah, let's get you going. Let's get you rolling.
Mm-hmm. Paul, are you going to say a couple of words, or you're good? Okay, he's going to let me. All right, man. I'm going to see if I could. Paul said, "No, sir. He's not going to do that."
No, sir.
Okay. All right, Paul. So you can let us off. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
So
We're going to see what we can do. We're going to remix this, and hopefully, on the other side, if you want Ivan and myself to talk more about this, let us know. DM us. You know where to find us. Ivan, why don't you tell them where you're from? I mean, tell them your IG address.
My IG is, how can I do it? It's Ercell Ivanhoe at at Ercell Ivanhoe. So maybe let's see if I can let me. Yeah, I'll just change my display. That's my Instagram, and then and say again.
Yeah.
And then faith. Yeah.
And I am the authentic
You,
Gary Graham. All right. I gotta go.
Good night, everybody.